While conducting my research on erectile dysfunction, it came as a shock to find out that according to Mayo Clinic, that 15 million to 30 million American men suffer from erectile dysfunction. Erectile dysfunction is the inability of the penis to become sufficiently rigid to engage in and complete sexual intercourse. During sexual intercourse, nerves release chemicals that increase blood flow into the penis. Blood flow into two erection chambers in the penis made of spongy muscle tissue, the corpus cavernosum. The corpus cavernosum chambers are not hollow. During erection, the spongy tissues relax and trap blood. The blood pressure in the chambers make the penis firm, causing an erection. When a man has an orgasm, a set of nerve signals reach the penis and cause the muscular tissues in the penis to and blood is released back into a man's circulation and erection calms down. When you are not sexually aroused, the penis is soft and limp. Men may notice that size of the penis vary with warmth, cold, or worry. This is normal and reflects the balance of blood coming into and leaving the penis. Erectile dysfunction happens when blood flow to the penis is limited or the nerves are damaged. According to a study done by Chang in 2008, erectile dysfunction affects 30 to 50% of men aged 40 to 70 years old. The main risk factors for men are age, because as you get older, your body starts to wither, and smoking. Smoking is not good for you, and obesity. Um, in about 20% of cases are psychological problems that cause, erectile dysfunction. And it is very clear because in order to be sexually aroused, it all starts in your mind. Whatever you are sexually attracted to that will arouse you, it starts in the mind so that your nerves can release chemicals to start having the blood flow go into the penis, and you'll eventually have an erection. Don't you worry. There are treatments for erectile dysfunction. There is hope if any men in this world are going through it. The first step is to go see a doctor. Consult your doctor, because the treatment you'll need is depending on what is causing erectile dysfunction. Because again, it can be due to your age, psychological issues. You may be depressed, um, and maybe you're becoming obese. Um, and so, erectile dysfunction, there are pills to treat it. The first thing your doctor usually prescribes is Viagra. Very, very popular, Viagra. Um, and its alternate name is sildenafil. Viagra is taken 15 minutes before sexual intercourse, but it is not recommended to take it more than once a day. It's really not good for you to do that. Uh, a natural alternative for Viagra is red ginseng, which improves patients' ability to achieve and maintain an erection sufficient enough for intercourse, even in a population with severe erectile dysfunction. It is a reasonable non prescription treatment, especially for men with reservations about taking sildenafil, um, because also sildenafil, Viagra, has some really bad side effects to some people. They just don't go well. It can be headaches. It can may cause blindness and heartburn, nausea, dizziness, flushing. It's very surprising that that happens. So this is a natural alternative to this. Well, Korean red ginseng comes in many different forms, like pills, teas, steamed, dried, etc. The method preferred of consumption is pills, because it's easier to take. Korean red ginseng doesn't require prescription. You can buy them in store and online. It is the best way to go, but obviously consult your doctor before starting the treatment to see if it is right for you. Always make sure you're okay and you're healthy. Yes. All right, let's start. Red ginseng is a root, well, it's a plant. It grows on the ground and it has a classification. The domain is Eukarya. The kingdom is Plantae because it's a plant. Phylum is Eudicots, class Asterids, order Apiles, family Aralaceae, genus Panax, and species Panax ginseng. Well, the range and habitat of red ginseng, it gotta live somewhere. It lives mainly in Asia, like China and Korea. It originated along the Manchuria Mountains in China. I will note the region in red right there. I marked that for you. In this area, there are cedar forests that provide the perfect cool environment for ginseng to grow because of its moisture level in soil. Because ginseng is very, very picky on where it grows. It's the pickiest person ever. I mean, the plant. Um, well, during the summer, there is high precipitation and an appropriately low minimum winter temperature along the Korean Peninsula. Due to strategic requirements to grow Panax ginseng, the Korean Peninsula is the best place to grow Panax ginseng, according to SUB in 2011. Ginseng begins life as a seed dispersed inside the berry in fall and remains in the soil through at least 2 winters, sometimes 3, 4, 5, prior to germination in spring. Ginseng may remain a one-leaf plant for several years as it accumulates enough stored reserves to grow into a two-leaf adolescent ginseng. A two-leaf ginseng may develop flowers and seeds, but reproduction is intermittent and low. Ginseng remains in the two-life stage for another 3 to 5 years before developing into a large adult plant, typically with 3 leaves, which may in old age eventually have 4, rarely 5. These large adult plants are the primary targets of harvest. I would like to note that ginseng grows slowly compared to other plants in cultivation. They really do take years to grow, but the more years they grow, the better it's supposed to be, and that's the ideal. Um, the so A year after they're sown on seeds or dry clay, the strongest shoots are planted out in plantation where no ginseng has grown for a period of time for 10 to 15 years in order to prevent rotting of new roots. This is like when you're trying to plant new ginseng, like you can't plant it where like a bunch of them have already been planted. You have to plant somewhere that's between 10 to 15 years that have not grown red ginseng. That's just the ideal and how it is. Um, when it comes to reproduction of red ginseng, there is very little genetic variation within the population, but between the different populations that occur all over the world, each ginseng plant is very different. Ginseng is a perennial, meaning that it grows in the spring and by October it sheds its leaves, preparing the root for winter. The life cycle is classified as diploid life cycle all the way through. There is no alternation of generations where gametophytes and sporophytes exist. Instead, seeds are released from the parent plant, grow into a sprout, and eventually in the fourth year form flowers and berries, which are released into the wild for seed dispersal. I will admit I could not find a lot of ecology on red ginseng. I could only find this small article Ginseng does live along the Manchuria Mountains, and it seems like there are trees and bacteria that go around it, and there are animals like mice and chipmunks that eat the berries off of ginseng, because the top of the plant is berries and then the bottom is the root, and the root seems to be the ideal where all the medicinal herbs are. But it's pretty cool. They live all over the northern hemisphere. Red ginseng has such a long history. I would love to talk about that, but it's really long. But in short, though, um, the origin of red ginseng is still unknown. Like they don't know exactly where it is. They scientists feel like it's around China and Korea, around there. Um, but they all agreed that it started around 2,000 years ago. Ginseng is such a great herb, a medicinal herb. It's been used in the Far East, particularly in Korea and China, and it is highly a respected herb from 2,000 years ago until this day. I will vouch for that, and it maintains physical vitality. And an interesting fact, in 1833, a German botanist named Niels van Esenbeck named Panax ginseng Panax ginseng Nies, but in 1843, like 10 years later, a Russian scientist named Carl Anton Mayer renamed Panax ginseng to Panax ginseng ca Meyer. That's really long, but he named it after himself basically, and it has stuck ever since. That's pretty cool. Um, Applications of red ginseng on erectile dysfunction. Uh, well, ginseng is used to treat erectile dysfunction. It is a great natural alternative because some men can't take Viagra because of the side effects. It really bothers them, or it might not, or the doctor might not recommend it. So it's a great alternative. And an unskinned ginseng is typically steamed because it boosts the potency, and that is what you want. It benefits you and your body when you consume it, even if it's steamed or dried. Um, like I have said earlier, it can be in capsules and pills, so people can receive these side effects without having to chew the ginseng root, because ginseng is very bitter, so just swallowing pills is just easier. Ginseng is a primary producer, which means it is autotrophic organism that is eaten by other heterotrophic organisms. How ginseng works. Um, the main component of red ginseng is ginsenoside. Ginseng is really amazing. It seems to have multiple benefits, and is probably the main reason why red ginseng is a vitality root. A really interesting study conducted by Choi in 2012, ginsenosides have been shown to enhance nitric acid production in culture porcine endothelial cells. This is important because later on, I have a diagram that will show you exactly how the pathway from being sexually aroused to having an erection in a man is shown, and nitric acid is one of the main components of making that happen, and that is how you can get an erection. And they tested it on rats, and they also tested on guinea pig hearts, and they did it by inducing nitric oxide and synthase activity. But more recently, a specific ginsenoside, RG1, is abundantly present in ginseng berries. Like I said earlier, berries are eaten by squirrels and mice, and that's really cool that they're actually using it in this study. And it is also reported to improve male copulation behavior via the nitric acid CGMP pathway. Based on these findings, they hypothesize that ginseng berry it just enhances the male sexual health, which is awesome. This is the ginsenoside RG1. I thought I could show you the chemical picture of it. It is classified as the member of the darmarine family. The structure of the darmarine ginseng consists of a 4-ring steroid-like structure. And there are other ginsenosides like RB1, RB2, RG3, RH2, and RH3. But the well-known ones include the RG1 and RG2 and RH1. In this figure, it is showing how, from the study that I showed you earlier, the Choi one in 2012, about the ginsenosides and which one affects the concentration of it affects a male's sexual health, and it seems like the RE has the highest concentration of all. And this is important because ginseng is the main component in red ginseng, and this is the reason why, you know, red ginseng is really helpful to treating erectile dysfunction. And in this next slide, there are many studies on the effectiveness of red ginseng on erectile dysfunction. This is another one of them. And an example is in one study conducted by Hong in 2002. 45 men with moderate to severe erectile dysfunction have found improvement in their scores on erectile dysfunction and sexual satisfaction after treated with 3 times daily doses of 900 milligrams of Korean ginseng for 8 weeks. And in this little mannequin right here, this figure just summarizes a male sexual function and how red ginseng can really help that. All right, now we are moving on to Viagra. Viagra has such an interesting story of how it was discovered. Viagra was developed by a chemist at Pfizer Research Center in Kent, England in 1989 for treating hypertension, which is high blood pressure, and angina pectoris, chest pain due to heart disease. During the clinical trials, researchers discovered that the drug was more effective at inducing erections than treating angina. Even though they failed to have the desired effects of hypertension in dilating the heart muscles, they, however, had an unexpected side effect that was reported by men who were undergoing the clinical trial began to experience random erections. Their nurses found many subjects lying on their stomachs, probably embarrassed from the surprise erections. Sildenafil was dilating the blood vessels in the penis, causing the erections. So, because of this, the heart medication had to wait because this was a great discovery. How Viagra works, this is a great diagram to show how how um how a male can get an erection. It all starts with the mind, and how it starts with the mind, because in order to get sexually aroused, you need to start with the mind. And during sexual arousal, the nerves and endothelial cells signal the brain to directly release nitric oxide in the penis. Nitric oxide activates the enzyme guanylate cyclase to produce cGMP, cyclic guanosine monophosphate, and lower intracellular calcium levels. This triggers smooth muscle relaxation, leading to arterial dilation, venous constriction, blood accumulates, which results in erection. And after ejaculation, the phosphodiesterase type 5, PDE5, is the predominant enzyme that reduces responsible for cGMP levels and the penis become flaccid. The PDE5 inhibitor, which is sildenafil, because sildenafil inhibits this enzyme, it prevents the reduction of cGMP levels and thus help achieve and maintain an erection. I would like to go back to this diagram right here. It just shows how this all connects, how it starts with the brain, it goes to nitric acid, it goes through its cycle, and all of a sudden you have an erection. But how when you take sildenafil, it makes you not go limp, it makes you stay harder, and then you'll go and have your erection and be satisfied. Viagra is really, really, really important because there are millions of men who have erectile dysfunction out there, and having erectile dysfunction can have a severe impact on a man's quality of life because the penis is kind of considered like to be linked to a man's masculinity, and when you don't have your masculinity, you feel you can like really make a man feel depressed, and that's not good. And so Viagra, it helps improve the blood flow into the penis. This gives men who are going through erectile dysfunction their sex life back. So there is always hope for, people, for men who are going through this. I'm actually surprised that people don't really like talk about this too much, but maybe it's more of a talk for like like older men who are going through that. My conclusion is erectile dysfunction is the inability to achieve and maintain erection that is sufficient enough for intercourse. Erectile dysfunction can severely impact a man's quality of life because having erection is linked to masculinity. Treatment like Viagra and red ginseng can help men achieve an erection that is sufficient enough for intercourse. And red ginseng is a safe alternative from Viagra. Before taking any of these pills or like herbs, always consult your doctor. But there are also many other treatments out there, but the pills are the first step into treatment. Thank you so much for coming to my slideshow presentation. I have worked really hard on this. This study was very interesting to find about the two discoveries of ginseng and Viagra for one, and it was pretty cool. I hope you really enjoyed this. Thank you so much. Have a great day.